Welcome to Club Doom, where chapters 5 and 6 of Empress Theresa are not nearly as interesting as chapter 4. For you see, Norman thought it would be a good idea to just recap what happened in chapter 4 from multiple people's perspectives, as if we ain't just read chapter 4, and it's really frustrating. People who follow Toei Animation's notoriously awful One Piece adaptation will know what I'm talking about. You know how being new episode drop, we get to see Sanji's backstory from three people's perspectives, even though we've known Sanji's backstory since 2005. Then cut to Chopper fighting the Flying Dutchman or something. Chopper does a new karate stance we've never seen before. Cut to Zoro explaining what's going on so they can save on the animation budget. Oh my god, he's using the Mickey Smasher. He hasn't used this technique in over 6,000 years, even though he's like 12. And then that's the end of the episode. See you next week type beat. Now imagine that in novel form. But luckily for y'all, I'm making this here video so you don't have to slog through them chapters. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, boy. I'm trying to cut me them new Jordans. And the Spotify check take too long to cash. We find Theresa floating unconscious in the South Atlantic, surrounded by shark chum, as Hal be using his defense protocol to slice up any predators that could potentially harm Theresa. She's then picked up by the British Navy and pronounced dead. 2 weeks later, Theresa wakes up in a hospital bed in England. No, I ain't skip a beat. Because Norman, and by extension the plot, demands Theresa get special treatment, the English decide they just gonna go ahead and waste hospital resources on a corpse. They don't even bother taking off that chum-covered jumpsuit, potentially causing a skin infection. The book ain't exactly clear just how long she was dead for, or what part Hal played in her recovery, but I can confirm her brain was deprived of oxygen for at least 14 hours. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it was Hal that prevented her from waking up with the mental capacity of, I don't know, Cyrax trying to explain taxes.
That's how much you could be walking away with if you didn't pay taxes.
But apparently they was just able to wake her by turning up the heat. Go figure. She's greeted by the Prime Minister of England, that Blair dude from chapter 1. And he like, oh yeah, the wind and the rain just kinda gone. We was wondering if maybe Hal had something to do with it. Could you help? And Teresa's like, bet. But first we gotta get me some drip. You know, Theresa after them new Jordans too, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. At some point we see the President of the United States on TV giving a press conference in reference to the very public and poorly executed kidnapping and attempted assassination of Theresa via atom bomb. And homie just start rap snitching, telling all his business, sit in the court and be his own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here, muck around, get the whole label locked up for years. They don't call me Club Doom for nothing. And then he just resigns on the spot before Congress got a chance to impound him. So why he try to murk Theresa anyway and potentially risk an intergalactic conflict with whatever the hell might be? Well, because Hal never checked in. And if you are at all familiar with the story of Tekashi 69, you know that is not proper hood etiquette. Not cool, man. Not cool. Anyway, we learn that the entire world mourned the loss of this random-ass chick no one knew nothing about, who happened to have a parasitic alien living inside her stomach, to the point that multiple broadcasting companies changed their schedules to accommodate for her funeral. And how do we know this? Because Norman made it a point to remind us at least 7 times a chapter. And let me tell you something, it get mad annoying after like the 10th time. But now we finally at chapter 7, woo! You got no idea how much unnecessary crap I had to cut to keep this video from being like 30 minutes long. In chapter 7, we get an interview between Prime Minister Blair and Theresa. Where's the reporter who's supposed to conduct the interview? Who cares? Blair be the important person, interviewing Theresa, the more important person. They is very important people, guys. Norman needs you to know this. You know what else Norman demand? That his DeviantArt original character Do Not Steal gets fan service in a Christian young adult novel. Theresa then gives a whole bunch of speculatory answers on what Hal might be and what he's doing here based on nothing established in the book. Like, she don't even talk to Hal. For all we know, she's just pulling this out her ass. We do get a funny bit explaining why Hal chose Theresa as his host. Out of the 10 million years Hal has been here on this planet, the one thing that caught his eye happened to be Theresa's mom raking leaves in the backyard. This hot, sweaty rake on leaf action was apparently so stimulating to Hal, he decided, oh yeah, I gotta get in there. Let's cut to the next point in my notes before this starts to sound like a low-tier god roast. Theresa suggests that Hal is a being with no real needs to survive, yet it latches onto a host, reacts to outside stimuli, and manipulates reality, like, for example, stopping the wind as its host be falling from the sky in service of said host, just because. It feels like it. Next, Magic the Gathering tournament on planet Quasar will be another 2 billion years away. Gotta do something while we wait. The interview ends with Theresa comparing herself to James Bond and Prime Minister Blair. I kid you not. Start singing, like humming, the James Bond theme on international television in front of like 4 billion people. I want to say only in a book like this, but considering how Joe Biden's presidency been going, I don't want to jinx it. In order for Theresa to collaborate with the world governments without any further interruptions from crowds or assassination attempts, she goes into hiding in the most lavish mansion surrounded by military personnel in the world, accompanied by the Parker family, who is in charge of being a family who happens to live there. Prime Minister Blair, who be in charge of stroking her massive ego, and her top simp Steve, who be in charge of collecting all the simp money she gets via the mail. Now cue the montage. Come on, ladies and gents, let's get to work. The rain has stopped and the world populace be in danger of mass starvation due to famine. We need to maintain a strict schedule of vague 3-hour work days and watching TV. Sounds like me running a YouTube channel, not gonna lie. Norman then takes time out of this snail-paced book to complain about atheists for like a page or two. My BC philosophy professor warned us not to get into long-winded arguments with atheists. Those who don't understand what they're talking about will talk all day. 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 And then we take another 2 or 3 pages for Theresa and Steve to go to France for no other reason than to give it a bad Yelp review. Mind you, at this point, it's been 2 months since the rain has stopped and the world's food supply is depleting, but no one seemed to care. Guess we all just finna filter feed, no big deal. But through months of rigorous training, Theresa finally hones her control of Hal and uses his god-tier waterbending to create 5,000-mile-high ice columns in the North Pole, with chunks of ice falling off the top. She then creates an infinite ki blast, like some Dragon Ball Z type beat, that shoots said melted ice across the globe, engulfing the planet in a uniform mist that will provide 100 years of rain per year, everywhere. And then she pays all the ecosystems that require certain amounts of rain and humidity for crops and animals to survive $20 to fuck off. They don't exist anymore. Sorry, Brock, no more jelly donuts for you. They go straight to your thighs. She then just decides on a whim, ayo, let's tilt the axis of Earth's rotation to make it summer all year round. Now every episode of your favorite anime will be a beach episode. I can't wait for the newest season of Boku no Cataclysmic Pole Shift Hypothesis. Theresa Chan and Blair Kun, my favorite ship. Naturally, this causes a bunch of global climate issues that just keep interrupting Theresa and Steve's vacations. It's so disheartening. Each solution being dumber than the last, whether it be launching metric ass tons of water into space or hitting some licks on the sun to snatch them some xenon to combat hurricanes. But hey, at least Theresa ain't gotta kill 500 million Asians, so I guess it could be worse. Well, it do kinda get worse. Theresa decides she finna hit the most devious lick of all. She pulls ungodly amounts of gold and silver from the ass dimension to sell to the world governments, which would in theory cause an economic collapse the likes of which the world has never seen before. I mean, like, Theresa effectively does to gold and silver what SoundCloud did to independent rap music.
Bitch, I'm motherfucking caking. Looking for a sweet back, man, you mistaken.
Then Theresa gets all pissy at Steve because apparently the lick was his idea, and now they've been slapped with a class action lawsuit by a bunch of peeved off bullion owners. From school to baseball to the laws of physics themselves, Theresa has managed to BS her way out of just about any problem. But now she faces the greatest challenge of all: Disney and Nintendo's elite squad of expensive lawyers. Who will she get to represent her? Will she represent herself? Find out next time on another exciting episode of Empress Theresa GT. Welcome to the Grand Tour. Sweet nectar. Pinterest user, and Fox Azure, the Bravo Jester. Boom, chicka pow, chicka boom, da 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 da, and our king of town. Don't forget this author, and Scaly Schisms, JX Bermudas, J Avarice, yeah. Subscribe to Club Doom. Oh, yeah. I would appreciate it much. You'll get all this quality content.